PS Technical, there's that submission from Honorable Mwila and Honorable Wamnyima. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I will start by giving a prelude to an answer, but I think I'll ask the head procurement, because looking at the answers which are not fitting the question, I want to believe probably we were not answering the right questions, and probably the documents which we may have used to direct bids may not have been the correct documents. I do not think the suppliers are at fault. The fault was, I think, with the ministry. The document that was used, the solicitation document, may not have been the right document, but I'll ask the head procurement to proceed.
Thank you. Head procurement, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Through the PS, like it has been mentioned, there was an issue to do, like members have noticed, the issue to do with the procurement of fertilizer for the 2022-2023 farming season. This procurement started with an open bid. Award was supposed to have taken place, and like the auditors rightly observed, the notice of best evaluated bidder expired on the 19th. But I think ZPPA on the 9th September, they cancelled the procurement process because 2 of the bidders that participated appealed. You may wish to note that the Friday, the 9th was on a Friday. Then that was 9th September. That having been said, there was pressure to have the inputs delivered in the country. I wish to accept that there were omissions that were made in terms of the solicitation document that we used, because we used exactly the solicitation document that we used during open bidding process. In as much as, yes, the bidders were supposed to have complied with these criteria, members of the committee may wish to note that, yes, bidders complied with the other criteria. But for this particular criteria, the committee was supposed to make a decision, because then inputs were required to be delivered to farmers. That was 9th September. So what the committee thought was that maybe they could rely on the section that has been quoted in terms of trying to waiver some of these criterion. I may go through the criteria one by one. I'll start with the bottom criteria going up. The bottom criteria is show proof of.
I think the criteria is there in the submission. There's
yes.
No need. You can just proceed. Maybe before you proceed, you've submitted that you relied on section 100, subsection 1. Honorable Wamnyima, you can read. You can just pause, switch off the mic. Head procurement. Honorable Wamnyima, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Section 100, subsection 1 reads, an evaluation committee may, where a bid is substantially responsive, waive, clarify, or correct any non-conformity, error, or omission which does not constitute a material deviation.
Now, where you've heard what he's saying, where we have a problem is if any other bidder, okay, according to your criteria of your bidding document, had submitted without these, they are non-responsive. Non-responsive. Is that correct? Yes, they are non-responsive.
Yes, sir.
That is where we are having a problem to reconcile. Okay? Yes, we've read section 100, but it's conflicting with the document you use, like PS Technical said. Because in the document you used, ITB 11.1 has mentioned these criteria, okay, which are material. I think that's where we're having an issue, PS. Maybe you can proceed and finish your submission. That's where we're having an issue.
Thank you, Chairperson. And because the document that we used was on open bidding, so we took it straight for direct bidding. So now, if we read through the same document on ITB 11.1, those requirements that were there, indeed, during the open bidding process, we really needed all the bidders to comply. But in this case, you know, in the usage of direct bidding, as a procuring entity, you will always look at the capacity of the suppliers that you want to direct bid. At the 11th hour that we were on, we really had to look for suppliers that would carry out the task without a problem. Members may wish to know that on the other hand, also, fertilizer is an emotive issue. It's an issue that is at the heart of every farmer. And at that time, we really had to make a decision, find a way. More so that also the criteria that was used, like I mentioned, it was because of the open bidding document. But also the Public Procurement Act also guides that if you are evaluating a sole bid, there are issues that you need to look at. You have to ensure that the bidder meets the procurement entity's technical requirements. Also, they conform to contractual terms and conditions. And also, if the bid that...
Thank you, Head of Procurement. If I were you, I couldn't even start laboring with all those things. Because here, this procurement is wrong. And no amount of explanation will extinguish what transpired. I think from the onset, that's my belief. And I'm on firm grounds, because if we dissect it further and look at some of the issues in it, I think yes, there was issue of timeliness, because this product needed to be delivered to farmers. But even in issues of timeliness, even in issues of emergency, there are guidelines which should be followed. That's why those laws are there. There are provisos, yes, like you've mentioned, but they are not able to extinguish this occurrence to that effect. So for me, I think it won't extinguish. Honorable Mwila, you had a question.
Chair, just to agree with you, but you see, when we are quoting sections or laws, we don't just have to select what suits what we are thinking, because you also need to read the law or the section in its entirety. Because this section 100, I see in the submission is only ending at section 100 subsection 1. But it goes further, Chair, if you allow me to quote section 100 subsection 2, which requires that an evaluation committee shall quantify a non-conformity error or omission in monetary terms to the extent possible and take it into account in the financial evaluation and comparison of bids. So this section 2, yes, it will allow you if it's immaterial, but how do you determine materiality? You quantify. That's what section 100 subsection 2 also requires. You quantify what we are terming as immaterial. So hence my question I had asked earlier, how did the committee and the ministry as a whole determine the materiality of these deviations? Because that is what is required under section 100 subsection 2.
Thank you. PS, do we have, before we proceed, do we have those who sat on this evaluation? Are they here? How many are here apart from our head of procurement? Yes, I've seen the names, but are they here? Those who sat, the chairperson of this evaluation? Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I will have to request my colleague, I think, to take us through this entire paragraph, in that he has a better understanding of what is represented here, because at the time he was in the office. And coming to the members of the evaluation committee that was constituted, I would like to find out from head procurement. if these people were informed, if they were informed.
Thank you. We have Malumo Nawa. Is Malumo Nawa, Mr. Malumo Nawa here? No? So they're not in here. They're not here. Okay, let's proceed. We'll proceed. There's that question from Honorable Mwila. And if we don't extinguish, then we'll call them to come. Honorable Amnima, after Honorable Mwamba, then you can proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. On page 17, table 4. I'm sure Honorable Wamunyima had gone through that document. Now, in front of me, I have the evaluation report on page 7. So when it comes to the preliminary evaluation, with the 5 bidders, it simply tells us that most of the criteria that has been here, that has not been submitted here, seems to show here that for instance, financial capability for all the 5 bidders is yes. So on page 17, financial capability is none, only submitted financial statements. So controlling officer, can you please run us through the preliminary evaluation and your table so that we can make comparison to know which is which? Because according, this was done during audit, but then your report is showing some differences. And then also on the negotiation report, it states that 5 suppliers were recommended for awards of contracts. Please, could you advise the committee who recommended the award of these 5 contracts? I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Amnima.
Chair, I'm just struggling to understand the response from procurement. You see, the farming season is not an emergency. Even there where you're seated, you know next year there's a period where you should procure fertilizer. But every year, even last year, Ministry of Agriculture had issues. They had issues again with procurement of fertilizer. This time, Chair, they have come again here. They procure from suppliers that are not giving price schedules, that are not by power of attorney, no technical specifications, valid, you know. Can the minister explain why? Because even, for example, these Agrisam, they did not even show any financial capability. But you procured. You procured. They did not even show proof of having supplied previously. But you procured. And that is what Honorable Mamba is asking, that in their minutes, you are saying these people have this, have that. But the auditors didn't find those at the ministry. So, Chair, what is informing you as procurement to abrogate procurement rules every year when you are procuring fertilizer? What is informing you? What is the appetite to do the wrong thing every year on fertilizer? Last year, the other time, PS, if you may wish to know, before you were there and before he was there as well, the ministry, as a legacy issue, procured fertilizer from a company from Dubai, not even registered in Zambia, and paid. So now, we are here, fast forward, we have an issue where you are procuring from entities that do not satisfy your own conditions. So what is the issue? Can you tell us, and tell us why these documents, your minutes and what you are saying was there, and that audit it's not there? And even now, Chair, in their appendices, there's nothing to show here that this FETSIT and Agrisam had these requirements. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS Technical, maybe you can proceed and help us. Your evaluation report and the query also and your submit, they are not marrying up. In your evaluation report, it's showing as if these issues were, these 2 contractors were complied. Then when the auditors came, it was a different issue. Maybe we can proceed and answer those 3 questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think for me, really, I did have already provided part of the answer. The error was actually caused by our procurement solicitation document, which should not have been, because this was a direct bid. And then we are looking at issues which should have been arising from a competitive bid. So really, from that premises, I would go by your advice that probably this answer could be withdrawn if we could be allowed, so that we give a better answer than this one. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. So PS, honorable colleagues, the PS needs to withdraw this particular submission because this answer is not befitting. And then we've got, from what PF Technical has submitted, I wish to submit to you committee that we'll call those two suppliers in here and release them, because the ministry is saying it's their issue, not their issue, so that we don't inconvenience them. So I'll ask the clerk to call the two suppliers to come in. Then we can address that, then they can go, then we continue with our issues. Then I'll ask PS now later further to withdraw this statement, this answer, and then a proper answer will be provided moving forward. Unless procurement has an answer why the evaluation report, as though the yes, while here is different. That is your submission.
Chair, since my superiors have submitted that withdraw the response, I think I'll concur with that.
You say I'll concur, not I think. I think you are not sure.
Not it, Chair.
Thank you. So let's go the suppliers. Maybe you can leave just two slots here. There's a chair there. Director HR, maybe you can just move back, then you revert back to your So we can have the two Faith Seed and Agrism. They can take the two seats. Thank you so much for the interest of the committee and our record. Maybe you can proceed and introduce yourselves and your positions, and we hope you have the power of attorney to the associate companies. Thank you. We can proceed.
Good afternoon, Chair and colleagues. My name is Mr. Ibrahim Lunat. I'm the CEO of Agrism Investments.
Good afternoon, Chair, and good afternoon, members of the PAC. My name is Daniel Hanziwa Maimbo, and I'm Director of FSG Zambia.
Thank you so much. And we did ask the PS from Ministry of Agriculture to invite you, because you've been cited in the Office of the Auditor General's report, and we're looking at the issue of failure to follow bidding evaluation guidelines. We've interrogated the ministry, and the PS Technical was sitting in that time as a controlling officer has made his submission to say that the documents they used, which we've interrogated, you'd made your submissions as companies, and you have no control inside what transpired. So emanating from that, we thought of calling you to give a submission. But however, after he's made the submission, as a committee, we saw it fit that we don't need to interact with you, because entirely it's not your fault, but the ministry needs to be accountable on how they conducted themselves against their own procurement document, which is an IT number 11.1, which is stipulating some of these criteria which you failed to comply with as companies. So with that said, as a committee, we will release you to go. Then we interact with the ministry further and give them guidance, unless you've got something you want to say, which you are on your own. But again, you are under Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, which has given you immunity. So if you've got something to say, you can make it known to the committee. If you don't have, so be it. Thank you. So we can start with FETSID. If you have something to say, if not, well and good.
Chair, thank you very much. At this point, I'd rather not say anything. Just say thank you, and also to recognize the fact that I've been dealing with the government for many years, and I have a lot of regard for civil servants. They work under difficult conditions, and they do what they need to do to make sure everything is done, and we appreciate everything that they've done. Appreciate the fact that government's main aim is to ensure that the fertilizer is delivered on time, and I'm sure this time around they'll be able to program things slightly better. We worked under extremely difficult conditions. We had to raise the money ourselves. It was difficult, but we managed and we delivered 100%. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Lunat.
Chair, I have no comments. I think I'll just pass back.
Thank you. So thank you. With that said, we discharge you. You are free to go. We'll continue with the ministry. Thank you so much. Honorable colleagues, the PS Technical has intimated that now I'll ask them to withdraw this submission for the aforesaid query, which is failure to follow bidding and evaluation guidelines, AgriZam and FETSID, that it's withdrawn, and they'll need to provide an answer to that effect, which is tomorrow. We need that answer tomorrow as we progress on this aforesaid one. Then we can proceed on the next one. The next one is delay to supply, deliver and distribute fertilizer. And we have a table 5, which is the same company. Yes, Honorable Amnima.
Even the next query, I think, it's the same. Yes, we're facing the same issues, I believe, unless if I'm not, because it's true. You see that in their response, they are again citing Section 100 on page 21.
Yeah, I saw something like that. I think I even asked the PS if it was a typo yesterday. Yeah, so this one is on failure to follow bidding evaluation guidelines, farmers ban, which is now, well, that will be on seed.
Yes.
So as we proceed on seed, then we also, I think, ask them to resubmit that one. But there's this delay delivery of distribution of fertilizer. Maybe we can question on that. Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chair. Looking at table 5, as far as the committee is concerned, we have 5 companies that have been supplying. I have noted that there's Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia as a supplier. So where does it fit into the equation? Does it mean there's 6 suppliers? Can you please shed more light to the committee where Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia fits in? Because I haven't seen any other correspondence in relation to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? PS, maybe before you proceed to answer, or if it's PS technical, my question is what really caused the delay? Is it the cancellation? Is it the back and forth in terms of procurement of the aforesaid commodity? And if so, what guidelines or what procedures as a ministry put to ensure that they mitigate this issue moving forward? Because I think this issue of cancellation, if not mistaken, even next year will still appear over the same, on how the procurement of fertilizer is being done. What mechanisms are you putting in place to ensure that you procure early, there is no delay, where now you start to usurping the same conditions or the same regulations which we need to follow as a ministry? Because the issue we want, PS, which you should take seriously is we are not going to proceed with business as usual. You come this year, you explain the same. We go next year, you come and explain the same. We need to get to the root cause and see how we can mitigate this issue going forward. So I want also you to react on that and tell us how, because when you delay the supply to these farmers, the yield will be bad. Then we have issues with food security. Then again, it's the same cycle which we'll be going through as a country. And this is very, very important even to the honorable members seated here from their various constituencies. Honorable Mwila, I've got a question. Then you can proceed and ask your question.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, regarding the delayed delivery and distribution of fertilizer, it was very clear that the contracted suppliers had delayed, and the ministry had the option to terminate the contract, even to claim liquidated damages. But I see in the response here that the minister had a fear of what I would call fear of the unknown. And the fear of the unknown is if they invoked the provisions of the contracts to claim damages, their fear was that the suppliers would counter the action through legal redress, which at the time that the delay was happening, the suppliers had not even moved that step. So I don't know how we manage national affairs in this manner, that you think the other person will think like this, so I'll stay put and therefore cost the nation and cost the farmers and lose what you are entitled to according to the contract. So my question is, why didn't the ministry go ahead and claim liquidated damages without giving this excuse of saying, oh, I was thinking they will also sue me because I also have my own shortcomings? Why didn't the ministry go ahead and claim liquidated damages for the delay in the distribution, or even terminate if it was proven that it was not going to be done? I submit.
Thank you. PS Technical is the one handling this issue. Maybe you can proceed and help us with that. And PS Admin, as and when, you can also add if you want to chip in. You can proceed, PS Technical. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. On Honorable Mwila's issue, why didn't we claim liquidated damages? Yes, as we were interacting, I think what is coming out is, yes, we had issues. We started the tendering process quite early, but at each point, as we were nearing the end, almost awarding the contracts, issues came up. Those that were thinking they were losing the race would go behind, and then would start getting these appeals, and at every stage before you could finish, then would be forced to cancel or retreat, start the process again, and in the end we lost time. I think we were around August. That's when, from January when we started, around August, it was decided then we go, we do the direct bidding. And obviously we were running out of time, and when we issued the solicitation document, which also contained the part of the requirements for engaging the suppliers, were still intact. So meaning we signed the contracts, and we were expected to receive the fertilizers as if we had started the process on time. So meaning at every stage the suppliers were delivering. The government also had responsibilities, for instance, to pay first 25%. Now, because the government also was not ready with the resources, even when the suppliers were meeting these requirements, government also was not able to pay according to the contract. And this is why we wrote to the Attorney General to say, look, we are reaching towards the end, and some of the contractors have not performed according to the contract. Can we go according to contract and claim liquidated damages? And we have a response from Attorney General who said, look, even yourselves, you did not comply with some of the provisions of the contracts. If you start doing that, claiming liquidated damages, you will also get counter suing, counter claims against your own lack of meeting the requirements of the contract. So basically, it was something that it was not deliberate, but I think it's because we started the whole process late. Most of the fertilizers that we are talking about is not manufactured in the country, it's imported. And so even when you are on time to engage contractors, it takes time for contractors to engage suppliers from various producing countries to start bringing in the country. And at the time we entered into this contract in August, I think it was already late. It's not something that we are proud to say, but I think time was just not there. And for us to start invoking these requirements of the contract really would have brought in a lot of issues. I think that's how I can answer that question, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, PS. Though I don't totally agree with your submission. If you look at the 18th August, the 10 bidders which you had contracted, and then you cancelled. Even when you did the direct bidding, only 2 from this list, Alpha and Agrisam, resurfaced in the same direct bidding. And we are wondering why some of these, because this is how you evaluated and you said you wanted to give these 10. Why even direct bidding didn't you get even the 5 from here? Those reasons, I think, cannot be, for me, substantiated. Again, in your submission, you've indicated that, let me read it for you. I saw it somewhere. You submitted that you started the season procurement. I wish to inform the committee that the ministry commenced the procurement process and award of contracts to suppliers for FISIP 2022-2023 farming season late. Why did they? Because like Honorable Amnyima said, we know the cycle. Maybe we'd also want to understand why the ministry started late, which is now again contradicting with the submission. For me, that's why, if anything, I would also ask that once you answer, maybe you can withdraw this submission, because if you are saying you started late, when late? Because you had started and cancelled. Like you've explained, some will go and complain, then it's cancelled, then now direct bidding. For me, if it was simple and straightforward, if these complained, I will just quickly go to the same 10 and pick another 5 and push. But we'll find another new set comes in apart from 2. So it's like, okay, these maybe they were not there. Okay, how do we now push them in? Let's cancel and push them in. Then now we can restart or we can direct bid. That is what essentially is looking. But I just want you to highlight why you've stated that farming season started late. Maybe we just understand, then we can make some progress. Then Honorable Mwamba, you can proceed, and Honorable Mukumbi, then the PS will come through to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My question has not been answered. We only have a list of 5 companies that are supposed to supply. So now we have nitrogen chemicals. That is also part of the delayed delivery. So, Controlling Officer, could you explain to the committee how nitrogen chemical finds itself in this equation? And then in this case, if it's also supplying, then we do not only have 5 suppliers, but 6 suppliers. And the process in which nitrogen chemicals came on board. I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Here, Honorable Mkumbi, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I note, Chair, that the ministry did engage the 6 suppliers in September 2022. As of December 31st, only 50% of decompound was delivered. 26% of urea as of 31st of December. I want to know how long does a shipment take? I think Zambia has been buying fertilizer from time immemorial from outside, from the time nitrogen chemicals was closed. The ministry definitely knows how long does it take for a shipment from whichever country, either Europe or Japan, to arrive in Zambia. Zambians are ordering cars these days. Give you 6 weeks, the ship has docked and you get your car. So I just want to know from that angle, how long? And number 2, did the ministry conduct a due diligence on all the suppliers before engaging them to supply the inputs in order to determine their capacity to supply? Because if you engage someone in September and by December they can't even reach 50%, they're just at 26. 3 months down the line, 90 days plus, they're just at 36% or 26%, and that's at 50%. Did you do a due diligence on these particular suppliers? Chair, I submit.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. On how NCZ comes in, I'll ask the head procurement to give us an explanation.
Head procurement, NCZ.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Through the PS, the total requirement for fertilizer for the country in the year 2022-2023 was 307,000 metric tons. So what happened was that there was a deliberate policy to engage NCZ through direct bidding. So in short, NCZ were engaged separately to supply in excess of 43,000 metric tons. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you can proceed. Thank you.
Yes. How long does it take for any consignment? It depends on a number of factors and when you also enter the market. If you enter the market, fertilizer market early, there are bigger players than Zambia, for instance, China, India, and we order from the same. So, and also looking at the Russia-Ukraine conflict, I think we also started getting into a lot of issues. So on the time that it takes would depend on when the person or that entity orders. For instance, ETG does order from using Dar es Salaam. I think usually for them, because they're a bigger player, they have actually a mother company out there which does ship for them. But these others that are based here, it takes a minimum of about 3-4 months to have them. And then we have now the problem also when we start using these 2 ports in Beira, when they are congested. Last year there was another problem. There was is it sulfur that was being shipped from Beira to Congo. So most of the transporters were engaged in, and they were paying higher rates to transport this. So our importers, our fertilizer suppliers had problems, challenges getting transporters to lift their fertilizer into the country. So that also affected our deliveries of the fertilizers. On the fact that did we do any due diligence? No. I would be very honest, we didn't, because like the chair said, we had almost awarded certain companies, and out of the original ones, only 2 appear in the last. So what it means is because we were running out of time, I think other criteria, I think we were under certain pressures. We did not do a due diligence. I would like to.
Thank you, Chair. PS, what certain pressures were you under? And Chair, one thing I'm concerned, controlling officer, your letter from Justice responded to you, but the letter you wrote to Justice is nowhere. It's nowhere in this file, because I would have been interested to know if it's there. Could you please share it with us? Chair, the delay in supplying or delivery in some areas went up to over 3 months. It went over 3 months. So we understand that the ministry, from the response from Justice, what I'm picking up is that the ministry was equally indicating that we were late in procurement. But this delay in procurement was the ministry's fault. So for me, my question, PS, why is fertilizer an emergency procurement in your ministry every year? It's always every year you have an emergency procurement. Because, Chair, what is stopping, you see, they can't claim liquidated damages. They want a waiver of not claiming liquidated damages because they started the procurement late. They started the procurement late because they cancelled the procurement. They are the same. This whole supply chain is being derailed by the ministry itself. So, PS, what is your cure? Every year you are here. You will be here every year. I can guarantee you even next year you'll be here on this fertilizer. Because you're even saying there are pressures. Disclose to the committee so that the committee knows which hit you receive to say cancel. We want to know, Chair, in the sense that, for me, my concern, to be more specific, is that what necessitated a demand requesting for a waiver in terms of your official letter, where is it? Why is it not part of this appendix? And why was this not given to auditors when they were auditing? Why was this information not given to them when they were auditing?
Thank you, Honorable Wamnyima. PS is that question, and I think my question I intimated was not fully addressed.
Chair, we didn't start the procurement process late. We signed the contracts finally late. So in between starting what we thought was on time, I think the first advert came out on the 18th of April. Yes, I think that's not very late. And we see from there we started now the processes, and then we started the evaluations. At times the team would be in an evaluation. You'd get phone calls from individuals or companies that are participating, calling you why they have been eliminated, and yet I'm not there. So really, I think it's this process of fertilizer procurement is a very complicated issue. There was a lot of, I think, leakages, I would want to say. From the team that was doing the evaluations to all over the country. At times you would see a document actually circulating on social media. And all that at times was being done probably by interested parties that had probably fallen out to influence the process. And at times that did happen. So we kept on going back and forth, like the chair initially said. And in the end, despite having started the process early, under pressure now, the pressure I'm alluding to is not coming from anybody. It's coming from ourselves, because now we are being urged, you are delaying the process. What is delaying you? So we are now made to work very fast, and I can see even now the solicitation documents we are beginning to make mistakes because we are under pressure at times. This is a Friday, maybe even Saturday you have to sit and do an evaluation. So really the pressure was coming from ourselves because of having delayed from the time we started up to the time we are now in September, and I think the contracts were signed on the 19th of September. And this time that is remaining is not really sufficient for us, and it explains why even the performance in the process was poor, especially when we alluded to the factors that I have already explained about the transportation issues and of course lack of the due diligence. So really, Chair, I just wanted to explained that no, we did not start late. The process started early, but I think because we were not concluding on time, we ended up signing the contracts late. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, PS. PS, as we before we proceed, we've seen that some of these companies we picked, in the end they delayed to deliver fertilizer. So my question is, what criteria did you use as a ministry to come up with this aforesaid 5? So these are the ones who picked to do direct bidding, deviating from your initial list, but the same which you picked, they now start to fail to deliver on time. I think that's my last question on that aspect. Honorable colleagues, any other question? You can proceed, PS. Thank you. Okay, before we proceed, there's Honorable Farari can proceed.
Page 19, controlling officer. Your response. Page 19, your response. The first 2 lines of your paragraph. Maybe you could indicate or withdraw this or rephrase it, because it's indicating you are the one who is telling us that I wish to inform the committee that the ministry commenced the procurement process and award of contracts to suppliers for FISIP 2022-2023 farming season late.
Thank you, Honorable Mfarari. I think that question was asked again, and that's why I told the PS that it's conflicting with the answer and also what in the other documents. Maybe PS, you can proceed and highlight on those 2 questions, the criteria, and then vis-a-vis the delay distribution.
Thank you, Chair. The first one on how did we pick those? Yes, earlier on I said we did not do a due diligence. There was no full due diligence done. But we had, from earlier engagements, we had attempted to find out who had stocks within the country. And that information, despite us at this stage not conducting a due diligence, we still had that information. But of course, this reliance on suppliers' information on the stocks is not very reliable again. There are times when they will tell you they have this, but when now you have offered the contracts and you start the supply, the deliveries, you discover that actually probably what they had was not as much as they were claiming to have. So our decision was informed by the information we had collected earlier in the procurement, in the engagement with all the suppliers. And these are the suppliers in the end we thought were best placed with the stocks that were in the country. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. So this statement, like the other one, I think it will...
Yes. Sorry, Chair, I forgot. Yes, I agree with Honorable Farari's suggestion. We could not entirely withdrawing, but rephrasing, yes, because partially it's not very correct.
That's true.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We make progress. We'll guide you as we progress. Procurement and delivery of 33,293 metric tons of seed. Honorable colleagues, you can proceed and ask questions. I think it's a similar issue concerning the farmers' ban. Now I think why it's not similar. Did you also farmers' ban, was it direct bidded? Or in terms of seed, was this direct bid or open bid? Maybe you can guide us before we proceed. Head procurement. Was this a direct bid or was this an open bid for the seed? For the 33,000, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Entirely, it's not the 3,000. Farmers' ban is just about under 2,000. The 33,000 metric tons of seed was procured through limited bidding.
Just resubmit, make your submission again.
In terms of seed, the 3,383 wasn't for farmers' ban. Farmers' ban, their allocated quantity was less than 2,000 metric tons of groundnuts.
Okay.
I submit, Chair.
Okay. So yes, I can see. Oh, so this is the entire on this selected, which is the 17 farmers. The 17 farmers, we contracted them for 33,000 metric tons of seed. Yeah, the one cited, was this limited, was it direct, was it open? That's, I think, the what we are trying to understand for the 17.
Thank you very much, Chair. Through the PS, in this case, the case for farmers' ban is similar to the other two suppliers. It was a direct bid. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, who ask the PS to withdraw this submission because it's also bordering on the same section 101, like the one we dealt with, so that they can give us a befitting answer. Unless there's any clarification, you can make clarification. If there are no clarification, I beg that, yes, Honorable Mukumbi.
Chair, since the farmers' ban did not comply with whatever the criteria was posted, I want to know what did they use? What criteria did they use to give them a contract? I'm failing to understand, Chair. There are a set of rules, such as this, submission of a form, technical specifications, power of attorney, price schedule. There are quite many. And this particular company failed in many areas. So how did they give them a contract? Because they were given. Whether they resubmit or not, they were given. So what did they use? What criteria did they use to give a company that did not submit most of the needed,
Thank you.
Yeah.
PS, before PS, you come in technical, Honorable Ferrari.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, some of these bids, when you follow them, you realize that controlling officer, the failures by these organizations to provide this sometimes is a result of your organization yourselves. Because you want to put a direct bid on a Friday and you want the result to the following day. So how do you, a credible company, put their statements and all the documents that you are demanding within 24 hours, and you are saying tomorrow provide this, we consider you? Why do you put yourself in a hurry? Why don't you do things so that when you are saying we are direct bidding, we are giving you 48 hours or 96 hours to provide these documents? But if you look at your EGP or whatever, some of you find that you want to do it instantly.
Thank you, Honorable Ferrari. Maybe perhaps on the lighter note, we don't know. That is the only way to do the way they want to do. PS, you can proceed and answer the two questions.
Thank you, Chair. I'm actually glad that Honorable Ferrari does understand the processes, and this is basically what happens. And I think what we probably fail to do is to stand our grounds, to follow the procedures, to avoid exactly what is happening here. I think I wanted to agree with that. But on the issue of how this farmers ban was awarded, I want to believe that from the seed industry's point of view, farmers ban, especially on groundnuts, and beans and others, is one of our best performers, really. So I'm looking at this answer. I think something is amiss here. So probably it's one response I could request that we withdraw and resubmit like the other cases that we have.
Thank you. PS, you can switch off the mic. I think Honorable Mukumbi wanted to just find out, because this is similar. That's why I said it needs to be withdrawn. But before we proceed, is farmers ban here? Because we had asked you to bring farmers ban here.
They are around.
They're around. So you can call farmers ban to come. So PS, your best performer did not attach the needed documents. So PS, while we don't leave the radio to be quiet, maybe moving forward on some of these aspects, I think which will be one of our recommendations is that for some of these procurements, do expression of interest. Then you have maybe 30 suppliers, and then they are cleared by all relevant officers. So that when you pick from there, there's no way this one is going to come. No, me, sneak in a document, do what, then again you cancel. So that you say, all these have been cleared. Financially, they can supply whatever other requirements they can do. Because if we look at some of these guys which you gave the contracts, eventually they delayed, but they said they have got stock. So is that criteria even necessary to say let's go and inspect the stock when they cannot supply in good time? I don't think it's then necessary. Yeah, because then which means it's not we are not meeting that criteria. So is this all farmers ban? Okay, so you can sit, take your seat. I want the one to sit in front, the one with power of attorney who was signing the contract. One can sit, then the other lady maybe can proceed and sit the other side. So you can proceed and tell us your full names and your designation for the company. You can proceed. The mic, you can switch on the mic. Yeah.
My name is Bandi Shnai. I'm the power of attorney for Farmers Ban. And I'd like to thank you for having us here. And please excuse me, I've forgotten my jacket. Sorry, my driver has just gone to pick it up right now.
You can sit. You can sit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You can proceed. Switch off the mic.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Hilda Piri Kawe. I'm the accountant for Farmers Ban.
Thank you. Farmers Ban, you've been cited in the Auditor General's report on issues of non-compliance to the some of the provisions under ITB 11.1 of the tender document, which you did not provide financial capability, proof of arrangement to secure storage and all that. So now we've interacted with the ministry. The other lady behind me, you didn't introduce yourself. Maybe you can introduce yourself. I've been just reminded.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Omega Kapiasa. I'm the Sales and Marketing for Farmers Bank. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to have our say.
Thank you. So, our colleagues from Farmers Ban, we've interacted with the ministry, and you did submit your bid, and entirely what you did not, it's like you've been given a job and you didn't expect that you'll be given. There's no way you can refuse. So after interacting, the onus is on the ministry that they didn't follow certain procedures to ensure that it's in compliance with Public Procurement number 8 of 2020, which they were cited for under the Office of the Auditor General, which we are deliberating today. However, with that said, the minister has said it's an issue and we'll continue to interrogate them. So we just want to release you that this issue does not border on you but the Ministry of Agriculture. However, if you've got something to say, you can say before this honorable committee, because you've got immunity under Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia. If you don't have anything to say, you will excuse us, we proceed with our business. So let me take this opportunity to ask you, if you've got any submission, you can make it now.
Thank you, Chair. We don't have anything to say.
Thank you. If you don't have anything to say, I'll lift the immunity, and you'll find your jacket outside. You can wear it and proceed back to Farmers Ban. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chair.
So, honorable colleagues, will proceed with the ministry. Like we've agreed, there will be withdrawal of this submission. PS, take note on this submission because it's the same. We'll proceed to the next item. If there are no any other clarification, honorable colleagues, we'll proceed to the other item, which is delay, supply and delivery of distribution seed and distribution of seed. So there are companies which delayed to distribute the seed, which have been cited. If there are any questions, we can proceed. Honorable Mwila, can proceed.
Chair, I think it's the same thing, except I don't see the reason in this case why the ministry did not go for either cancellation or claiming of liquidated damages. There's no reference to any consultation with the Minister of Justice in this case. So I'd like to find out why they didn't go for the liquidated damages and also the current status, because in the response it is saying that by 15th of January 2023, 14 out of 17 suppliers had supplied 100%. So if we are talking about 14 as at January 2023, this is December, what is the status of those that had not supplied 100% at the time this response was coming? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with that question.
The PS wants to have a go first.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chair. I would humbly request that this particular one is also withdrawn because we have clearly noted that there's a misrepresentation on this diagram compared to the information that is sitting with the office as at 15th January. As a ministry, we get daily updates on this distribution of inputs. And I think there was an error in terms of the figures that we are seeing here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, PS. That was my next question, because if you look at the diagram is showing 72% at 31st December 2022, but your submission is showing 99.58%. Then again, in the letter dated, which was responding to confirm to Auditor General that what from their DAP, that yes, that was actual and you're agreeing to what they had submitted to you. So that is where the issue is. So I think that can be withdrawn as well, so that you can make a resubmission on the same. Honorable Umai.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The afternoon for today has been a very difficult afternoon for this committee. And going through this report, it is arising from, Mr. Chairman, wrong sections being quoted. People cited have come before this committee, but we have failed to interrogate them because the ministry has opted to withdraw the submissions, and as and when the submissions are made, the committee will still be comfortable if any necessary questions arise with the people cited in the report. Allow me, Mr. Chairman, to propose then that at the rate we are moving, this remaining submission be withdrawn so that another submission is made, so that the committee can operate as we operate normally, because what is happening today is something which is very new. Allow me to make that proposal before the committee, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Sorry? Oh, there's hand. Okay, can proceed, Honorable Mkompe.
Chair, I second, as stated by Honorable Rumai here. We need to withdraw, and then once the ministry is ready, I'm sure you told them tomorrow, I guess, so that they can bring a proper report which you can deliver to on Chair and submit.
Thank you. Honorable Wamnyima.
Yes, Chair. As you can see, that is why for me I've been at pains. The ministry, even in the next documents, continues to submit that they were late in procurement, supply, but they have completely said that was not the case. But in the subsequent documents, that is what they submitted. So I think we cannot proceed with this. Let them submit, and we still need to deliberate on these issues, particularly issues to do with failure to grant authority on eligible farmers. Chair, we have important issues of irregular beneficiaries of FISIP who are in employment. So I think we need this submission, this document to be cleaned up and resubmitted so that we can finish up and address the remaining issues. Otherwise, then it will be we withdraw. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Chair, is the ministry in order to make this honorable committee to sit and just start withdrawing all the sections of their submission? I submit.
Thank you, Vice Chair. They are not in order. Honorable colleagues, I'll ask that we proceed for a break before we start another paragraph. Honorable Mfarari, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, our standard procedure is that what we have to identify on each head what is being withdrawn. So what they have withdrawn, we withdraw. But I think we needed to continue to pick up to the end of where the signature is.
Thank you, Honorable Mfarari. Indeed, that's our standard procedure, because we'll then advise the ministry that you are making a resubmission on this one, on that one, on that one. Then if we find that subsequent submissions also, they are not befitting and they need to withdraw, then they withdraw henceforth, and then they will have to do the entire submission. Because emanating from that, I think there are issues which we've looked at, which we've closed, like issues of payment of insurance to the farmers who've advised and closed. So then that does not need to be resubmitted. So honorable colleagues, let's just wind up quickly, look at the next item. If so, then we also tell them to resubmit, or we can deal with it, then proceed and then break off for a refresher. So with these issues being withdrawn, we'll proceed to management of FISIF beneficiaries. Then, which is the query is failure to grant authority to deposit to eligible farmers. Honorable Mkumbi, yes? Yeah. So we have the issue of management of FISIP. Management of FISIP beneficiaries. The query is I, which is failure to grant authority to deposit to eligible farmers. We can question on that. Then irregular issuance of farming inputs to beneficiaries in the formal sector. These two we can look at them, then we'll have finished and then advise how to proceed. Thank you. So honorable colleagues, I beg that we have 5 minutes break. Then we resume our meeting later. So PS will lift the immunity so that we can all rest for 5 minutes. Actually, let's make it 10 minutes and we'll get back to questioning. So immunity has been lifted.
Thank you, Chair.
Basically, I'm a villager from Monze, the eastern side of Monze district. This is my second term.
Minister of Agriculture, you can give us some chance.
Momba constituency. I'm a married man, obviously with one wife, and I have 4 children. In terms of my education, it's important.
I know how we struggle in the afternoon. We start picking up at after 15. So, honorable colleagues, honorable Lumai proposed, which is okay with fair for tomorrow. But emanating from that, that is already been seconded, would defer it for tomorrow. But moving forward, we usually go through and finish, then pick what to resubmit. Then we just come and look at what we need to look at, so that at least we don't waste time again to come and start looking at other things. But looking at the time is 16 hours, so we still got an hour. If we are able to, unless we are tired.
And not because my father could not afford, we had a lot of